Hey, awesomes. Welcome to week 4. My apologies being live to you so late. I know I've been posting updates, and everything, but I think I'm finally over COVID completely and whatever else I've had for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. So thank you for your patience. I know I've communicated with many of you. I've read over all of your posts for your topics, and we've had conversations back and forth. So technically, we are in what I'm calling week 4. Remember, the first week of our course was like 3 days or something like that. But so maybe this is technically really week 3, but we're calling it week 4. So I know, excuse me, just to tie in from last week, as I sent out some other conversations with you as well, talk about finding the conversation, finding where scholars, more specifically, are talking about your specific topic. And of course, we talked about last week via not only some messages that I sent out, but as well as watching these videos and the readings, which were really more videos. And then as you're working on the library instruction module, I think you'll find that also very helpful to find those keywords that have to do with your topic, to find out where scholars are really talking about what it is that you're talking about. And that's really what research as conversation, or finding the conversation, or as I call it here sometimes, the sweet spot, where scholars are talking about your topic. And that is really the most beneficial and helpful for the rest of the semester in any research project that you are presented with is, I would argue, number one thing to do is to find where are scholars talking about it. Now, for scholars, as you hopefully you're kind of getting to know, doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be one location. There might be several different publications, several different things going on. Scholars don't necessarily communicate sitting in a room or on a Zoom call. Okay. Scholars converse by publishing papers, publishing articles. So we need to find out where they're publishing. It could be in 2 or 3 different publications. It could be in 7. It could be in scholarly books. It could be, it's going to be, some of these too are going to be in the form of going to conferences and sharing papers. Which are usually also published. So that's what we're trying to find. The heart of that conversation is really kind of the backbone for whatever topic that you have selected. So once you find that, and one thing that will be helpful too is as you go through the library instruction module, okay, and there's a link to it. And once you get to the link on that page, there's a big square box kind of in the middle of the page. It says enter, I think it says a micro course. And that's how you access that. And as you go through that and learn more about researchers' conversation, how we find research, how research is put together, these kinds of things that will also help you find those sources for this. Okay. And so I hope that kind of brings us, I don't want to say together, puts it all together in one kind of package deal, if you will. But once we find that conversation, then, right, that's largely our secondary research, right? So we're going to kind of make sure we understand this week the difference between primary and secondary research. And of course, talk a little bit about primary research. If a lot of you are not familiar with that term, this is where surveys, interviews, questionnaires, and then even the realm of experiments when it comes to the scientific method. This is primary research. It's research that you go collect and that you gather. All right, so you need to have a component of that, obviously, for your final project. But for now, you need to be thinking about what works best for your topic, right? You don't have to do all of those. You don't have to do an interview. You don't have to do observation all together, right? You choose one. Surveys are really, really good for this, right? Just survey some individuals, as you'll see in the sample that we look at this week. That particular individual did interviews, which made sense really for his topic. Now, in that topic too, I will tell you the interview. This was during the pandemic, so it was a little more challenging to get that. So a lot of it ended up being interviews via email, question and answer back and forth. It wasn't necessarily a situation where they sat across a table and had a conversation that way. So biggest thing to note is just have something, be thinking about what makes sense for your topic. Who would you want to reach out to and talk to if you wanted to? Is there something that you could observe safely, right? And if you did, what are some survey questions that you might be thinking about that you could garner some evidence, right, that you could then use for the topic that you're talking about? What is it that you would want to gain research-wise from a primary source, right? Through some surveys. So oftentimes surveys are really, really good. You do those through SurveyMonkey or any other type of service, and use the free option. Put some questions together. Feel free to, and then send those out. However that you feel that you can send those out, or send them to me, and I'll ask the class to participate as well. All right, so to make sure that we're all set for this week, obviously read this through here. Understand the difference between primary and secondary research. Primary is research you go out and get yourself. Secondary research is you're leaning on others' research. Okay, so you've got other writers who have put something together in print, hard copy, or perhaps mostly online. Through the avenue of largely articles in this case, in some cases. And so those are the differences between primary and secondary. Of course, I'll be posting more videos right here in the readings to kind of help us also think about primary and secondary research. A few short chapters out of Grizz Writes, our textbooks, which I think most of you guys have online. And then we'll take a look at the Project One sample paper this week. And then make sure you get your library instruction module assignment done. And when you're done with that, you should have a screen or something is emailed to you that just shows that you've completed it. Just take a snapshot of that, screenshot, or something like that, and just that will be what you will then put in the Dropbox here at the end of this week. All right, guys. All right, so I hope you have a great week. I'll be back to talk to you more. We'll talk a little bit more about the Project One sample paper. I'll talk more about primary and secondary research as we go along. All right, let me see if I still remember how to do this. It's been a while. All right, guys. So good to finally get a chance to actually talk to you. Sorry, this was a little bit long, but I'm trying to get caught up a little bit.